Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Sinatra, and welcome to week 5 of my heart health and weight loss program. By now, I hope you're taking my non-inflammatory diet and you're exercising, walking at least a mile a day, and taking omega-3 Slim, my heart-healthy green tea thermogenesis product. Today, I want to talk about something that's a little more difficult: the emotional factors in weight loss, or the mind-body association with weight loss. You know, for years in the 1970s and 80s, when I was a psychotherapist, and I used to do stress and illness workshops, weight problems were huge back then because, you know, a lot of people would put on weight as a form of padding. They didn't want to feel connected to other people. We learned that, you know, people could take in food, take in a lot of food, but they were starving emotionally. We learned that people needed to be touched and hugged, but instead put a block against that and use food as a substitute. So I know from being a psychotherapist, there's lots of mind-body issues with weight loss. Let me tell you about one of them, and that's the differentiation between mouth hunger and stomach hunger. You know, a lot of us are under stress. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we live in rough times today. I mean, the boss can give us stress. Sometimes we want to kick the cat. The kids can give us stress. We have financial stress, traffic stress. I mean, it's all around us. We can't get away from it. And at times, what do? Well, we try to calm ourselves. And instead of taking a deep breath and breathing, we may reach for food. We may run to the refrigerator. We get some bad news and we go to the refrigerator and we start stuffing ourselves. And we're trying to really placate ourselves. It's a maladaptive way of dealing with stress. There's far better ways. But remember this, folks. Mouth hunger, a lot of it has to do with our emotions. Stomach hunger means we're really hungry. So I want you to differentiate. Are you having mouth hunger, where you have to take in something to satisfy a need? Or do you have stomach hunger? If it's stomach hunger, it's legit. And by all means, feed yourself. But beware of mouth hunger. It can distract us and it can cause us lots of excess calories. Okay, how do we deal with stress then? Well, there's lots of ways of dealing with stress. Under stress, I can tell you from all the workshops I've done, we don't breathe. We freeze breathing. People during a traffic situation, they'll stop breathing. Breathing is one of the best ways of alleviating stress. And how do you do it? If you recognize you're under stress, just try abdominal breathing. Just breathe in. Let your hands expand on your abdomen and breathe out, Just the process of breathing will help you disconnect from the frozenness of being under stress. When you're under stress, the first thing we'll do is maladapt. We may, fire back at somebody. We may eat something. We may retract. We may become a recluse. I mean, there's so many maladaptive ways of dealing with stress. The best way I like is this. When you're under severe emotional stress, what can you do? Well, think of a period in your life when you had extreme joy. For me, a joyful period in my life was when I was 16 years old and I came down from my bedroom and I was ready to go to high school. I was a junior in high school. And my mother said, "Happy birthday. It's your 16th birthday." And she gave me this heartfelt hug. And I felt her love. I felt her unconditional love. And when I'm ever under stress, I think about that moment when I was 16 years old. So what I want you to do is to think about moments like that in your life. Maybe your first child, maybe your marriage, maybe the first kiss you ever had. Whatever it is, you can use that to discharge the stress. Because I want you to get away from the stress. And more importantly, I don't want you to use food as a substitute for stress. Or use food as a substitute for love. Previously, I told you that many of us are starving on an emotional level, but yet we try to placate ourselves with food. Clearly a maladaptive response. So in this segment today, I want you to get that there is an emotional overlay when it comes to taking in food. Try to recognize if this is a part of your process. Additionally, I want you to keep a journal about taking in food, and when you are under stress, are you physically turning off your breathing? Look at yourself. Are you taking in food when you're under stress? If you are, I want you to get away from that maladaptive stream. Another thing I want you to do is another affirmation. A lot of us who are overweight feel like we're unlovable. Your affirmation today and your takeaway today is, I am lovable. That is your affirmation. I want you to get rid of the negative self-talk. Don't put yourself down. Remember, positive intention is one of the best ways of healing the body. So if you do have a little negative self-talk, erase it out immediately. If you do feel unlovable, I want you to tell yourself you are lovable, just the way you are. And the last thing I want you to do this week is consider being with a pet. If you do have a pet, I want you to pet that pet and to be with that pet more. I want you to connect with your pet. If you don't have a pet, consider going to a neighbor or a friend and try to connect with their pet. Cat or dog are fine. And what I want you to do is I want you to make a connection with the pet. Look into their eyes and take in the feeling that that pet gives you. And that feeling, most of the time, is going to be unconditional love. I want you to take in unconditional love because that's what all of us need. And I want you to try to either get closer to a pet. If you don't have a pet, even consider adopting a pet. Go to one of the homes that have these pets that desperately need homes. But this is what I want you to do. Positive affirmation, connect with a pet. If you're feeling the need to be loved or touched, and it's difficult for you, even getting a massage at this time is good. Because remember, you're in week 5. By now, most of you have lost at least a few pounds. Some of you may have lost even 10 pounds. So I want you to pamper yourself. And again, those positive affirmations. The mind-body approach to weight loss is the most difficult of all my pillars. It may bring up tears for you. It may bring up joy for you. It may bring up anger. Whatever it is, whatever the emotion is, let it happen. Don't editorialize, why I'm sad or why I'm angry, but just have the emotion. That's my tip of the day. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.